What's up guys, welcome to FoundFlix. On this edition of Ending Explained, we'll be looking at the new Netflix film Death Note, a westernized adaptation of the beloved original manga and anime. I'm a huge fan of the Death Note anime, and as you can see, Ryuk is watching me right now. Of course, it's not possible to really capture the original complete story in a 2-hour movie, but the film does a good job of using the overall DNA of the original while also putting its own spin on things so it can stand on its own. Even before the movie came out, I had people asking me to do an ending explained on it, and since it's come out, I've gotten a ton more requests. I don't think the film's ending is necessarily that complicated, but there are many twists and turns to the story that can be confusing. So let's look at the important moments that explain what happens at the end, and look at a big cliffhanger that the movie doesn't give us resolution on, L's final major decision. This version of the story transports us to Seattle, Washington, where we first meet the brainy high school student Light Turner. His life changes completely as a storm brews, and a mysterious book falls from the sky, landing right at his feet. For those unaware, this book is the Death Note, an extremely dangerous and powerful ancient tome that grants its keeper the power to kill anyone whose name is written in the book. For it to work, you write the person's name you want to die and how they die, then the book will make into reality whatever is written. Within reason though, as it said, you can't have someone sitting on the toilet get killed by a shark, even if it would be really funny. So whatever death is chosen has to be realistic. Also, you can't just have a name, and also need to know the person's face for it to work, which we see becomes problematic for Light later. The book is filled to the brim with a multitude of rules, like the keeper can transfer the note to someone else, or if the note isn't used for 7 days, it returns to Ryuk to pick another keeper. But some of the rules show the book has even greater power beyond forcing the Reaper's hand, as it is possible to actually control the victim's actions for up to 48 hours, after which they will then die. So whatever is written in the book beyond how they die will also come true, essentially causing the victim to be under the keeper's control for that 48-hour period of time until they're assigned death. At first, Light doesn't even understand what the book is. That is until Ryuk, the demon that watches over the book and chooses its keepers, explains to him how it works. Outside of Light's room, bullies that beat him up earlier are up to their same old tricks, harassing a girl. Ryuk suggests putting the boy Kinney's name in the book and seeing what happens. Light does so and puts in Kinney's method of death: decapitation. We see this come to fruition quickly outside as a series of seemingly random coincidences lead to Kinney getting decapitated by the ladder of a truck. Now fully aware of the book's power, Light next chooses to go after a personal victim, Anthony Scomal, a gangster who killed his mother, and according to Light, his cop dad James let him walk, causing a distance between the father and son. But with the power of the book, Light can now take matters into his own hands and write Scomal's name in the book, causing him to be impaled through the neck by a steak knife at dinner. Later, James finds out about Scomal's death, and when informing Light, he seems genuinely happy that he is dead. He knows that he shouldn't be, but it's hard not to be satisfied seeing someone bad get what they deserve after escaping punishment. And Scomal's death fixes the distance between the father and son, who apologize and both say they love each other. So his death was a good thing. It's this idea that much of the story hinges on. If the book has the power to take out bad people, then isn't that actually a good thing? To Light it is, and with the help of Mia, a cheerleader from his class, they team up seeking out major criminals around the world and killing them by writing their name in the Death Note. Their intent is not to solve some crime, but all crime, and inspiring hope to people around the world that things actually can change. To take credit for the otherwise unexplained deaths, and to show that one entity is behind all these killings, they create the persona of Kira, a name that in Japanese slang means killer, which they have victims write on the wall before their demises. Their hope is that with each of these new killings, Kira will be seen as a positive force that is making the world a better place. And it does work substantially, causing crime to go down worldwide and leading to criminals turning themselves in out of fear of Kira's wrath. But in the process of killing more and more people, it's said to be 400 victims at this point, the idea of Kira being entirely good starts to become debatable, because Kira operates outside of the law and without restrictions of any kind, and that in and of itself is a problem. That's how Kira ends up on the radar of L, a young super detective who consumes copious amounts of candy. When we meet him, L has already been following the Kira killings, and he learned that the victims that are chosen only appear first in the media, since again, one of the rules is that Light has to have the victim's face as well well as their name. This, plus the strange behaviors seen before the victims' deaths, lead Elle to realize that there was a first victim that followed this pattern, the man that Light killed to prove the book's power to Mia. And thanks to this, Elle has narrowed down that Kira must be in Seattle, as well as having access to the police database. There, he teams up with James to track down Kira and bring him to justice. Of course, James has no idea his own son is Kira, who unknowingly reveals to Light about the investigation he is working on about him. Light asks what they will do if they find Kira, and his dad says that people would probably be divided between wanting to see him hang or wanting to dissect him to figure out how he did it. The walls continue to close further in on Light as he discovers Elle is having his every move monitored by a team of FBI agents. Mia suggests that he kill all of the agents as a statement to not mess with Kira, but Light is feeling the increasing pressure of their situation and decides to not use the note and lay low for a few days. But then somehow we see the assistant director of the FBI have a heart attack and die, followed by the rest of the task force all walking together in unison, mounting a building and walking right off the edge of the roof to their deaths. Light knows he didn't do it, so he blames Ryuk for killing the agents, assuming it was because of some kind of loophole in the rules. But Ryuk doesn't admit to the killings and says there are no rules, only the game. As all of this is just for Ryuk's entertainment as far as he's concerned, and we later find out who it was that was responsible for killing the agents. Now, just as Elle had antagonized Kira on TV earlier, James appears on TV declaring Kira a thug, essentially demanding for Kira to retaliate, as his face and name are both clear in the press conference. But of course, Light doesn't want to kill his own father, despite Mia urging him to do it, even trying to write his name herself in the book, saying it's necessary for their own safety. And it turns out she is right, because by not killing James, this proves to Elle once and for all that Light is in fact Kira, confronting him in a diner but not arresting him, because he first wants to know how it is that Light does the killings. Later, Mia apologizes to Light for wanting to kill his dad, telling Light that she loves him, but unbeknownst to Light, it's really the book that she's interested in, and the two rejoin forces, hatching a plan to discover Elle's full name and turn the tables and kill him before they get caught. They do this by using the note's power to take control or influence its victims, writing down the name of Elle's longtime confidant and closest connection, Watari, influencing him to become obsessed with the idea of discovering Elle's full name. And the plan is, once he discovers the name, in 2 days right before his death, they will take advantage of the note's Rule 89, which allows the keeper to spare a target by burning the page with their name on it, which can only be done once. So they take control of Watari, writing his name in the book and sending him off in search of answers. Upon learning that Watari is missing, Elle is seen as slightly more reckless and emotional than before, as by taking Watari, Light has now made this whole thing personal. He shows up unannounced at Light's house, telling him he crossed the line, and that if Watari dies, Elle will have to kill him. Elle then sends a ton of officers into Light's home, ransacking the place in search of evidence. As Light and James wait outside the house, Ryuk appears to remind Light of what happens if they find the death note he left inside. It will transfer to a new owner, and Ryuk delightfully asks Light, "What do you think the first name I'll suggest they put in the book is?" His. Uh-oh, things are not looking good for Light. He is now even more dependent on Watari, who heads back to the school where he first met Elle as a child, hoping to somehow find more information on him there. The school, St. Martin's, isn't really a school, but a strange program whose purpose was to train children to become the world's greatest detectives. And Elle was their youngest candidate at a mere 6 years old. Of course, they start this process by locking children in a room referred to as a vault for an extended period of time and see if they go insane. So the program is more than a little twisted. Meanwhile, Light and Mia try to play normal for the new agents tailing them, going to the homecoming dance at their school. And luckily, Mia managed to sneak the note out of the house before the police arrived. She pulls a switcheroo on the agents by having a guy stand in for Light, allowing him to leave to retrieve the note. But when he finds it, Watari's page is missing. And on the phone with Light, Watari is digging through files deep in the inner sanctum of the school and does find Elle's file, and is just about to tell Light his full name until his 48 hours runs out and he is blown away by two soldier dudes. Their plan backfired, as they hadn't wanted Watari to die, and after considering it, Light realizes that it was Mia who removed Watari's page, forcing his demise. This betrayal doesn't necessarily come out of nowhere, as throughout the story, Mia is always the one who wants to push things further, where Light was always more hesitant with using the power, and at least at first was interested in doing real good. And this is further confirmed when Light returns and confronts Mia, saying she killed him, but she believes otherwise, saying she was saving Light from himself once again. And it's revealed that there was no loophole with the FBI agents who died. It was Mia who took a page from the book, tracked down each of the agents' identities, and then wrote their names down, causing them to all die by jumping off the building. To her, Light hasn't fully been using the book to its potential and wants to brandish the power for herself. And to make absolutely sure this happens, wrote Light's name in the book, saying that his heart will stop beating at midnight. She then demands that he give her the note, and she will in turn burn his page, sparing his life. Jeez, Mia, so not cool. L is already on edge with Watari missing, but is sent over the line when he learns that his friend is dead. Now desperate for his own vengeance on Light, he furiously takes a police car and a gun, searching for him in the streets, driving around like a complete maniac. And James sends out all units to look for Light to put him in protective custody, worried about what L might do. As the police make it to the high school, Light puts into effect his most elaborate plan to date with the Death Note, finding several random low-level criminal victims to put under his influence to do his bidding. And the entire plan hinges on a final test of Mia's feelings to see if she truly loves him or only ever wanted the book, which we see comes into effect in just a bit. L manages to find Light, and after a lengthy foot chase traps him in an alley, pointing a gun at him and reminding him of what he said he would do to him if Watari wasn't returned. About to be killed, Light tries desperately to explain about the book and how it works, but they are distracted by a random chef that enters into the alley. L explains to the man that this is Kira and he is with law enforcement, but surprisingly the guy whacks L on the head, knocking him unconscious. It turns out he is a Kira supporter, hailing Light as Lord Kira. Good thing he showed up. Very nice timing, buddy. Light makes it to the Ferris wheel with the police right on his tail and joins Mia aboard the wheel, shooting out the controls so they can't reach them. At the top, Mia again demands the book, but Light wants her to stop all this, asking to remember what it's done, not just out there, but to us. He doesn't want her to take the book, he loves her, and wants to run away from everything together. She does say she loves him in response, but takes the book anyway, to Light's disappointment. And as a result of her taking the book, the plan that Light wrote as a backup plan at the high school becomes reality. First of all, he wrote her name in the book, and now that she's proven that she doesn't love Light more than the book, her time is up. The Ferris wheel breaks apart and Mia nearly falls to her doom, held onto by Light. The note starts to tumble towards the earth, and as Mia reaches for it, she rips a page out, losing her grip and falling through the air, landing in a flower display, dying on impact. Light falls out as well, but miraculously survives, landing in the water nearby. L finally makes it to the scene and witnesses the page with Light's name written on it floating through the air, perfectly land in an open trash fire, which promptly burns the page, saving Light from Mia's midnight deadline. The Death Note washes up on shore nearby, and one of the victims under Light's influence takes the book, using it himself while Light is in a coma recovering after the Ferris wheel incident, causing 4 more deaths. This proves to everyone that Light couldn't possibly be Kira, and before his time is up, the man returns the note to Light, setting it on his comatose body. Everything here seems a little too perfect, and that's because every step of what happens here was orchestrated by Light back at the high school, written hastily in the note just before the cops arrive. And after Light awakes from his coma, his dad now knows who he is, finding the Skomal article at the house and piecing things together. He asks his son how he did it, and Light reveals his full plan he put into place with the note from the moment Mia took the book on the Ferris wheel, to her ripping his page out of the book as she fell to her death, and the page being burned, Light surviving by landing in the water, and then using one man, Dr. Ludlam, to put Light into a coma for 2 days, then leaping to his death. Another man, Aaron Peltz, a child molester, is the one who retrieved the Death Note from the river, who was then ordered to each night put names into the book, which are the 4 deaths that occurred while Light was in a coma. Then after 2 days, Peltz returns the book and commits suicide. By the plan following through, Light did lose Mia, but he not only saved himself, but also proved in a way to everyone that he couldn't possibly be Kira, using the other victims under his influence to pull off his elaborate plan. Because if he was in a coma, how could he have possibly killed those 4 new victims? And it almost looks like he got away with it, but there is still one major loose end Light hasn't taken care of. L. Initially, he seems defeated after everything that's happened, but then he begins to remember what Light was trying to tell him in the alley earlier, and even more specifically something he said, that a calculus book has the power to kill. He makes a call and learns that Light wasn't even in calculus, but his girlfriend Mia was. So L, with new determination, goes to her room, finding the calculus book, and inside is the page that Mia tore out from the note that she used to kill the FBI agents. Now understanding how everything works, we see there is still room on the page, and Elle frantically grabs a pen, considering writing Light's name in the book. But we don't see what he chooses to do, and that's definitely the biggest cliffhanger story-wise in the film. Does he write Light's name or not? I think the reason this was made inconclusive is to be able to leave the story open enough for a potential sequel. But if I consider it from its own single story, I would say that Elle does write down Light's name. He had already attempted to kill Light earlier and had warned him that he would kill him should Watari not return. He also earlier chose not to have Light arrested as he wanted to know how he did the killings. And now he has this information on how the killings work upon seeing the dead FBI agents' names on the page. There's no real reason for him to want Light alive at this point, and after he led to Watari's death, it makes sense that Elle would follow through with his initial threat of killing Light, as he already tried to do it once. But we don't know for sure, and it's up to the viewer to decide whether Elle's thirst for vengeance is enough for him to use the note's powers. At least for now, Light survived, has the note, and has gotten himself out of trouble. Too bad his girlfriend got power hungry and died, his dad knows he's a mass murderer, and now all he can do is hide for the rest of his life. So, good plan, but, not great plan. That'll do it for my ending explained on Death Note. What did you guys think of the movie? Do you think Elle wrote Light's name down? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching FoundFlix. See you next time.